Hello everyone, welcome to another fun video today. Today I have an adorable treat for you today. I'm going to share more about this in a second, but let me tell you about the products that we're working with today. This is the Tune In bundle. This is in our new annual catalog and it is so adorable. When I saw this in the catalog, I was really intrigued by it. I thought it was very adorable. I wasn't quite sure how much I would use it though. But I decided to get it anyway, and I'm so glad that I did because I have made some of the cutest little projects with this. So if this is on your wish list, starting on June 5th, which I believe is today, June 5th, you can get this bundle for an additional 10% off. All of our bundles in the catalog are always 10% off, so you can save a little bit. At least the new bundles. If it's a carryover bundle, they're not always discounted. But if it's a new bundle like this one, it is 10% off. But during June, starting June 5th, you can save an additional 10%. So make sure that if this is on your wish list, you're shopping my online store and you're getting this now. The link is in my bio to shop my online store. I also have a host code in there in my in the video description as in too, so you can shop for everything you need in my online store and use that host code for extra benefits. All right, so this is what we're making today. It is a little slider, so when you slide your little treat out, you will have a package of popcorn. Now I'm just using the Costco popcorn. I was making a bunch of these and I wanted to make it as cost effective as possible. So I went to Costco. I bought their, I think it was like a 48 box. So very affordable. You can make a lot of treats with this. So this is what we're using for our treat. Everybody loves a fun little popcorn treat, and it's not a sugar treat. So it's a little bit healthier than some of the other treats that I do, but this is what we're making. It's really easy. It's a little slider thing, so you just slide this right out. Now I wanted to show you that if you didn't want to make a treat with this, you could take this same exact layout and turn it into a card, which is what I have done here. So this is just a standard card. It's 5.5 by 4.25, and I have just turned this into a card using the same exact layout. So you can see how quick and easy this would be just to turn this into a card. So if you don't want to make the treat, you can make a card, or if you want to make the card and you don't want to make, or you want to make the treat and not the card, whichever one you want to do, these layouts work with both of them. So let's go ahead and get started, and we're actually going to make two today. I have one kind of partially started, and so we'll finish that one up and we'll make one full one from start to finish. So let's go ahead and jump in. Isn't it adorable? I love it. Okay, so for your actual popcorn base, we're going to start with that. You're going to need a piece of cardstock, and I'm using Poppy Parade because I thought that was the closest color to the outside of my the Costco popcorn. Now, if you have a different brand and you think a different color is going to go a little bit better, then by all means you can use that. I wanted the packaging to kind of blend in as seamlessly as possible, and Poppy Parade was the closest that I had to do that. So that's why I'm using Poppy Parade. But again, go with colors that will match whatever you have. All right, now, so this is 8.5 by 5.5, so it's just half sheet of cardstock. This is what you start with when you make a card. And I have already scored it at, I scored it at 1/2 inch, and I scored it at 4.5. So we're gonna go ahead and give that a good burnish on those score lines. Now, if you're making a bunch of these, I would recommend that you do all the scoring first and then cut them in half, and then you'll have two that are scored and you only had to score once. Okay, so this is what you have. There's no trimming on this. All we're going to do is adhere this flap to this little tiny flap right here. And so for that, I'm going to use my liquid glue. You want to use a super strong adhesive for this because it is a pretty snug fit for that popcorn to slide in here. It's pretty snug, and so you want to make sure that everything stays glued and stays adhered together. And I find that the our Tombow multi-purpose glue is super strong, and it is the best for this job. So I'm just going to put some glue along that 1/2 inch tab, and then we're basically just going to close this up. And I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to give that a really good burnish. Just make sure that, you know, if any glue has seeped out, just go ahead and wipe that up, but make sure that everything is nice and adhered. And to hold it down while it dries, I'm just going to use some little mini clothespins. You can put something heavy on top, whatever you want to do, but I'm just going to make sure that everything stays nice and adhered. And you want this completely dry before we stick our popcorn in it. So that's why we did this first, and I'm going to set this aside. We're going to work on the rest of our elements. So let me set that aside. Now, let's bring this in. We're going to work on the TV. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this little television. So you can stamp it and color it, or you can stamp it on colored cardstock. I am only using the dies though, so let me show you which dies I use. So I use the big TV die, of course. Then I use this little inner piece, and that is cut out of Very Vanilla. So I did basic gray for my TV, and then I have Very Vanilla for like the screen. And then I use, there's two little sets of antennas here. Now this bigger one is if you are die cutting the stamped image, but I am just using the super skinny one. So I just cut that out of basic black. So I have some little black antennas here. So that will go with our TV. And then I used this piece right here for my little knobs, and I think it's the speakers. I'm not sure. So we have two little knobs. They're so cute. They die cut so cute. And then the little speakers. Maybe it's like a vent. I'm not sure. On the TV, it has like the little speakers or vent thing on the right side. So that's what I did for my little die cut one as well. So those are the dies that I used. And then I used this little fun die, and that's going to be our background on our TV. I use that, and I cut it out of Poppy Parade, Coastal Cabana, Basic Beige, and Peach Pie. I cut a bunch of them, so I just ran that through a bunch of times. And so I ended up with, these are what I have left. So I have a bunch of little pieces of these left. So my color combination comes from, I just Googled retro colors with red because I knew I was using Poppy Parade. And so I Googled retro colors featuring red. And so this fun little color combination came up, and I just loved it. So this is where my colors come from. So that's why I cut it out with these colors. So we have all of our little background pieces. We have our little TV die cut. I'll set this off to the side so we kind of know what we're going for. And we're going to go ahead and assemble everything. And I, once again, am using the multi-purpose liquid glue. If you don't like liquid glue, especially for little pieces like this, then use glue dots. Those would work great as well. Okay, we're going to start with, we're going to start with our screen. So I'm going to pull our Very Vanilla piece in, and let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. So I'm going to do this in like an alternating pattern. The first and the last ones are going to be the same color, and then we're just going to fill it in with 3 different colors. And I'm just going to make sure that all the shapes are a little bit different, and it doesn't really matter. There's no like perfection to this part. So don't think too much about it. Just go ahead and lay them down. So I'm going to start with Peach Pie, so I'll go ahead and end with Peach Pie. So we know that one's going to be ending. So let's just grab another one. We'll go with Poppy Parade. That one will go next. And we'll just do a Coastal Cabana one. I want to find a different shape. So if you just cut out a bunch of these, you'll have a bunch ready to go, and you'll be set for success. All right, and let's see, different one. I think this one will work. Okay, that's a basic beige. So you're just filling in with those 3 colors, and it doesn't really matter what you start and end with. I have I had a lot of the Peach Pie, so I'm starting and ending with that right now. But if I do another one, I have more of my basic beige left, so I'll start and end with that one. So whatever way you want to do it. So there's our little background piece. Isn't that cute? So let me move all these extra screen pieces off to the side. Let's bring in our little TV. We'll push off all of our pieces for now. Now I'm just going to adhere this down with some liquid glue. If you wanted to pop this up, you absolutely could with some dimensionals. This is going to go kind of right in the middle of our TV. Our little antennas. Just a little bit of glue just on the back. Don't worry about putting any glue on the little pieces of antenna because that's going to stick up. And you don't want to adhere that down. So that the only part we're adhering down is the little piece right there. I'm just going to put a couple little dots of glue for the little knobs. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm not going to try to place these down with my fingers. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool and just pick those up and drop them into the glue. So use that putty, and that's what that's for. That's a fantastic tool. And then just a little bit of glue on the back of this. Don't go too heavy with the glue because it is kind of cut through and perforated and you don't want that glue to seep out. Just set that down just like that, and perfect. There's our sweet little TV. Isn't that adorable? He's so cute. So we're gonna set that off to dry now because that has all the liquid glue. So let's do some stamping. So I'm gonna also put this off to dry. I'm gonna zoom back out a little bit so that we can do some stamping. And I have all of these pieces in the background. So I have Coastal Cabana, Basic Beige, and Peach Pie. And so we're gonna do different stamping on each one of those. So let's go ahead and start with our Coastal Cabana. Now I told you at the beginning we were gonna do two. So I've already done one of my Coastal Cabana. And so we're stamping tone on tone. Let me get some scrap paper. We're stamping tone on tone. So we're stamping Coastal Cabana ink on Coastal Cabana cardstock. And I'm using the little stars here, or the little flickers or flutters or whatever you want to call these. They're little stars. I think these are going to be a good background stamp for so many different things. This is such a good little background. So you can do this with whatever you want. So just kind of go through. There's no real, pattern to this. Just make sure that you cover most of the surface. Okay, just like that. Perfect. All right, let's set this off to the side, put our ink away. We don't need that one anymore. All right, our second one is Basic Beige, and I've already stamped this one. And instead of going across the whole thing, because our TV is going to cover up the middle of this one completely, I only did the edges. And for this one, I used this stamp. This is like the little static stamp. I use that on the edge. So we have, for both of ours that we're making, we have both of those ready to go. And then that's in Basic Beige, stamped tone on tone. And then for our final one, we have Peach Pie. And this is the little, the lightning bolts that are, to signify like sound or action. So I use those and I stamp those on Peach Pie in Peach Pie ink. So we have those ready to go. All right, the final thing that we need to stamp is our greeting. And the greetings don't have die, so I've cut mine out. I did some fussy cutting. If you don't want to do that, you can just stamp them on pieces of vanilla cardstock and then just, trim them into little rectangles or use dies to cut them out into shapes. That's fine too. So we're going to start with this Newsflash, and I'm stamping these in Poppy Parade. I'm going to get this as close to the edge as possible so that we can trim that out. That's just going to be trimmed into a rectangle. Now for the Your Classic, it comes as one stamp, and I fussy cut them apart just like that. And so I have those ready to go so that you didn't have to watch me fussy cut these. So I have those all ready to go. So Your Classic. So let's just go ahead and get this Newsflash done. And then we'll adhere it all together. So I'm just gonna use my little guillotine cutter. You can use any paper trimmer you have that you love. We're just gonna trim that out into just to the height of the words. Okay, and I'm using Very Vanilla just to keep to that retro feel. And get my scissors, and we're just going to trim this at an angle this way and at an angle this way. Okay, so there's our greeting. All right, let's bring back our TV. We're going to stick this on with the greeting on with some dimensionals. So I'm going to start, I have mini dimensionals here. These little pieces are small, so we're going to use some mini dimensionals. Let's start with our Newsflash. So peel off the backings of that. I try not to use mini dimensionals in videos because they're kind of harder to get off, but I wanted to use the mini ones here. So that one just goes right across the top of the TV. Then we're going to add Classic. And again, just a couple more little mini dimensionals. And these fit on here just perfectly. If you just kind of snuggle that last one in down there. And if it's too big, just you can cut it in half, or you can use it like an edge piece. And we're going to stick this on Your Classic. Now for the that one is a little bit tiny. So I have a couple of little mini dimensionals down here, and I'm going to stick those on the back of this. The half ones make it very, very tiny. I mean, the mini dimensionals are small to begin with, but when you cut them in half, they're very small. So just be careful. It's a little tedious, but it's totally worth it. Let's peel off that backing. And we're going to stick this down just right in front of it, Your Classic, just like that. So we're not covering up the TV too much. but just enough to make that greeting shine through. Isn't that adorable? Now I told you we're making 2. I already have my second one ready to go. So we have 2 little TVs ready to go. So we'll add those to our stacks. Okay, so our little holder should be dry by now. So let's move this out of the way. Let's bring back in our holder. I'm going to pull off those clothespins. So this is ready to go. And I have another one here ready to go. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, these little strips, each one of these strips is 4 by 1 1/4. So I think I forgot to mention that. So all the measurements are in the video description as well. So don't worry about writing anything down. Okay, so we have our two pieces here. So let's go ahead and adhere all of our strips here. So I'm going to use liquid glue for this. I'm using liquid glue just because it's super strong and I want everything to stay in place. I'm going to use my grid lines here just to make sure that I get everything nice and straight. Get the first one straight, and then it's easy just to butt them up all against the others. This one. Make sure that basic beige one gets in the middle. It doesn't really matter about the Costco Cabana and the peach pie one, but that basic beige one needs to be in the middle so that I started my peach pie one a little high, but that's okay. We'll do the next one a little lower. But that basic beige one, because we didn't stamp in the center of this one, we want that TV to cover it up. Just make sure you make sure that one's in the middle. Okay, so let's do our second one. We're going to do peach pie here. We're going to go a little bit lower this time. Use that grid lines just to make sure everything gets nice and straight. Perfect. We're doing all of this before we stick our popcorn in so that everything is nice and flat. It's a lot easier for you to glue these down when it's nice and flat. Perfect. That one is perfect. They both look so cute. Okay. That's it with our liquid glue. So let's go ahead and put that away. We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of these. So these are ready to go. We're not going to add these until the popcorn is in, but while I'm giving this just a second to dry, we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of these. So I'm going to use the minis because that's what I have out, but these are probably better suited for the bigger ones, but I'm going to keep them in the middle too, just because we're putting this onto a curved, it's going to be a little bit curved. And so you just want to keep those dimensionals kind of in the center just to make sure that they hit that front of the curve. So let me pull off all of these backings so that they are ready to go. Knock those in my trash pile. I'll stick this aside now that it's all set, ready to go. Pull off these backings and everything is ready to go. So let's add our popcorn. So I have 2 packages ready to go. And it's a snug little fit, so once you get it started, you can get it in. But the getting it in is the hardest part. It is a snug fit, but that's what you want. You don't want everything to slide out. So put that in, and then we're just going to kind of smush that in. The other ones were not this hard to get in. They went in very easily. So I feel like I'm making this look a lot harder than it should be. There we go. Get this out here. We're gonna just pull this through. There we go. Perfect. You just want to make sure that it's centered on here. Perfect. So get that in. It's nice and snug, but that means everything will stay put. Okay, so let's do one more. Hopefully this one will go in a little bit easier. I made a bunch of these and they all went in pretty easily. It wasn't until the video started that they all decided to go, let's make this a challenge for me. There we go. Get it up here, just kind of straighten it out and then just pull it through. Perfect. There we go. So there are our 2 little popcorn holders. Aren't they cute? You could, I think these would be great little craft show items too. All right, so we're gonna stick our TVs on here. They're gonna go right in the middle. They're ready to go. And then for a final finishing touch, I'm gonna use some little gems on the little knobs. Aren't those super cute? These are our sparkle gems. I'm gonna use these basic black ones. These are in our annual catalog. They're also in the online store. You can get them there. They are so gorgeous. We've had these before. These have been around for a little while, so this is not a new item. my take your pick tool. We're just going to use these bigger black ones, and they are going to just go right onto these little knobs here, and that's just going to add lots of fun sparkle, but still a good gift for a guy. This doesn't have to be a girl just because we're adding some sparkle. This is a great little gift for anyone. So there we go. That finishes up our project. Isn't that an adorable, sweet little treat? Now again, remember, if you don't want to make the little popcorn holders, you could definitely turn this into a card. Perfect for anyone. I did add a little bit of extra stamping. I don't know if you can see that. I stamped the little antennas on the top and the bottom in Poppy Parade cardstock on that Poppy Parade piece, just for a little bit of extra dimension on the card. You can absolutely do that on these. Because I was making so many, I opted not to do that, but you absolutely could. So there you go. You have an adorable card, an adorable little treat pouch, popcorn treat pouch. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another video. I am hoping to be back live soon on my Facebook page. You know, life is starting to settle down a little bit. We have a couple more super busy weeks, but I am hoping to be back very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to shop for any of these products, I do have a link in my video description for my online store as well as my current host code for the month. I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. If you love this video, please subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. It helps my business grow, and you never miss an adorable video just like this. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye.